welcome. You are listening to the Grow Daily podcast, and I am your host, Piyush Agarwal. Welcome to the 8th episode of this series. I'm so glad that you guys are still sticking around. There's a good news. We just got listed on the iTunes podcast directory. That means that I can now reach more people through this podcast, help more businesses grow every single day. You can help me in that process too. If you're liking this podcast, if you're liking what I'm recording and what I'm doing here, please do leave a review on iTunes. At this early stage, every review counts, and it's these reviews and ratings that will let Apple know that this podcast is worth making a note of. So, help me out there, leave a review for this podcast on iTunes or anywhere else you are listening to this podcast right now, and help me reach a lot more people. If you are listening to this podcast for the first time, welcome on board. This is where I get to share tips, tricks, and my own experiments with all of you that would help grow your business every single day. Because consistent growth requires consistent work, and I'm here to help all of you make that happen for your businesses. So what are we going to talk about in today's episode? We are going to continue defining our social media marketing strategy like we have been doing in the last 2 episodes. In this episode, we are going to talk about how you can build a stronger social media following for your brand. Now, when I talk about social media following, I'm not really talking about having somebody click that follow or that like page button. Well, it has to be more. By following, I mean they are really following what you are doing. They are actually updated on everything that you're telling them. They look forward to your post. Just liking your page doesn't really mean that they are following what you are saying. And that's what makes all the difference, especially for your brand, because you need to make sure that you are connected to your audiences, connected to your customers, connected to them in ways that would make them your fan. Or as Pat Flynn says it, raving fans. Before we proceed any further, I would like all of you to ask yourself, do you have a good social media following? If you don't have an answer to that, well, go ahead to your social media pages and check how many people have been engaging with your posts. It's easy. You can just check their comments. You can check how many likes you have been getting, how many people are really going ahead and sharing your Facebook post. And now, find out what's the percentage looking like when you compare it to the number of people who are following or liking your page. That's how you will know what percentage of audiences are really engaged with your content. If you have a high engagement, and by high, I mean anything over 10%, you are doing a decent job. Any lower means there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So, how can you engage with your audiences? Well, the answer to that is right there in the question. Engage. Yes, you need to be a lot more engaging with your audiences. You need to connect with them in ways that works for them, not just for you as a business. Many times you will notice that we end up sharing only our promotional posts. And by promotional posts, I mean posts about our upcoming new products, posts about sales, posts about different aspects of about products. So it's all posts that are clearly, loudly saying that we are trying to sell you things. And that's the challenge. When you are trying to sell anyone anything, their immediate response is to shut themselves off. And most likely they are not even listening to that amazing message that you're trying to drive in that conversation, because you have already lost that audience. And that's where it's important that you figure out ways to engage with them, to strike a conversation where you are listening. Your audiences will respond more if they feel they are being heard, that there's somebody on the other side listening to them, listening to whatever they have to say and responding accordingly. That's how it becomes a conversation. So first thing, do you respond to every single comment that you get on your social media profile? That video you posted on YouTube, did you respond to all the comments that came there? If not, that's the first simplest thing that you have missed in engaging with your audiences. You need to be responding to your audiences, even if their comments are not very healthy. But you need to be constructive, you need to be taking them positively and responding them in the best way possible. This is clearly the simplest way of engaging with your audiences, but something that's ignored by almost every single person. So go out there, find those posts, find all the comments, and make sure you have responded. And a response is not really liking their comment or hitting a heart on their comment. It's actually responding to them by typing something that's meaningful. If your response looks like something that's coming from a bot or coming from a place where the person has not even read the comment, they won't feel like they are being talked to. They won't feel like that there's a conversation happening. So the more you respond to your audience's comments, the more they feel that yes, there is somebody who cares about what they have to say. And that's how someone feels important and somebody feels like that they need to connect more often. The other way of improving your engagement rate is to check out what kind of content you have been posting. Are they all promotional posts or there's more? How many images have you been sharing? How many videos have you been sharing? What other kind of content have you been sharing with your audiences? Now, if you really break down social media and the kind of posts or the kind of content that you can share, it boils down to these four basic things: text, images, videos, and links. The best social media strategy involves usage of all of these content types, sometimes even together. And apart from that, the way you use this content type is also important. So promotional posts is one way, but apart from that, you can go for educational posts where you share some unique facts that your audiences care about and they would like to hear. It can also be articles that you have come across online that you think is worthy of a share. If you have written a new blog post on your blog, share that. But make sure at no point you are pitching any of your products or any of your services. Just keep it purely informative in a way that you care about the audiences and you're telling them something that they care about. Then your post can be funny. It can be about things that your audiences will find hilarious. You can use memes, you can use funny videos, you can use different kind of things. But good humor always does well. It helps you connect with audiences that no other way can. So make sure you use funny content, you use content that your audiences will find funny as well and not offensive in any nature, and share them more often. Apart from that, you need to create other kinds of posts where you get to ask your audiences for things. So rather than just sharing, you can very easily go out there and ask your audiences questions. You can ask them about their experiences. You can ask them even to share a review on Facebook or some other platform that you have. Even better, go ahead and create a contest which requires them to respond in certain way. So, you need to design content that encourages people to respond, to let them know that there's somebody listening and there's somebody who cares about what their opinion is. It's always very important for letting your audiences know that you care about what they have to say. And only then will they really go all out for you. Remember, the best kind of selling is where you sell nothing at all. So, in order to engage, don't be a salesman. Be a friend that they never knew they had. Be someone that's listening to their voice and that cares about them. Really, it's all about building a trust. At the end of the day, it's all virtual. But the magic of social media is that the way you respond can make it feel personal. In order to connect with your audiences, you need to post and share things that your audiences like, or even better, loves. If you are thinking, but how do I find what my audience will like? The answer is right there in your social media profile. Go back in there, go through all your old posts and see which of them have got the most number of responses. Which of your posts is the most engaged one? You can easily go into your Facebook analytics or the reports of any of your social media networks to find the most engaged posts as well. Now, once you have found the top 5, try to analyze and understand what your audiences liked, why did they like it, and accordingly try to post similar content and see if you can replicate the same kind of success rate. That's an easy way for you to understand what your audiences like. Also, when you are creating new content, keep an eye out of what kind of response you are getting. If a particular kind of content gets more responses, that basically means that it may be a better idea to do more of those. The next piece of advice is not something new. I have mentioned it earlier as well, and it may be something that has been told to you. You need to be consistent. Consistency is the key in building any relationship. So even in this case, your audience needs to know that they can trust you and expect content from you at specific times. When they feel that they can predict your behavior, they feel that they know you. And that's what we are trying to build here. Build trust, make sure that our audiences feel and know that they are being heard and we are always there for them. So make sure you are consistent, make sure you follow a social media posting calendar, make sure you're doing everything so that your audiences does not feel that you have gone missing, responding to their comments. And I am coming to the last point that I have to make sure that you are engaging with your audiences better than what you are today. Talk in their language, and I mean literally. English has become sort of the preferred language of communication all across the world. However, if you have an audience that is from a specific country where English is not the key language, your core target audiences all speak a language which is not English, then you need to start conversing in their language because that's what makes it a local connect. You need to use tools that would help you type in your language. Type in the language that your audiences understand and reads. That way it feels local and it feels like that they really are having a conversation with a friend. You may be thinking that Piyush, typing in my language on my laptop or my phone is really difficult. Well, I have a solution for that. Now, I am from India and my mother tongue is Hindi. So obviously, having an English keyboard doesn't make it easy for me to go out there and connect with my audiences in Hindi. I do have a Hindi podcast and I have been exploring how I can be speaking with them and typing in Hindi more often in a way that's not painful. And that's how I discovered Google Input Tools. Now, this is very much based on the Google Translate tool that is there online. However, it makes it easier for you to go ahead and type content out in your language from your desktop, from your laptop, from your mobile devices. You can just install the Chrome plugin or the Opera plugin in your laptop and start typing in the language that you want. Go ahead and download Google Input Tools today to start doing that. With that, we have come to an end of this episode. I hope you liked everything that I shared on how you can be an engaging brand on social media, how you can increase your brand equity and get more mind space from your users, from your listeners. Because only when they feel the connection will they really vouch for your brand, talk about it, and help your brand grow. Because on this podcast, we are all about growing our businesses. On that note, I would like to say goodbye. Please do share reviews and also write to me at hello@piyushagarwal.com and I will be back tomorrow with another brand new episode. Until then, hasta la vista. You have been listening to the Grow Daily podcast and this is your friend Piyush Agarwal. Stay engaged.